we have to talk about the fact that there are pinky cameras in this movie.
Yes.
What's a pinky camera?
There's literally a camera with a fake pinky doing forced perspective when it's attacking.
Oh, that's
Ben
right.
Stiller.
Oh, that's
There
right.
are so many small, weird, beautiful things in this movie.
Yeah, that's why I was bringing up the director and just like a cinematographer, maybe. I don't know who's responsible for that, but the movie is so well shot and there's so many awesome camera angles. There's a lot of Dutch angles, a lot of close-ups. It can be very awkward at times and kind of in your face. YUNKJunk! What's up to our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving geek nation? You have a date with destiny. And she's ordered the lobster. Tuning into the Mr. Furious Standcast CultPop Podcast, episode 77, a show where we talk about movies and TVs and comics and bowling tips that may or may not have your father's skull in them and all the other things that scratch your nerdy itch. We're coming to you live. Well, pre-recorded from YUNKJunk HQ, a bomb-ass podcast production space in Philadelphia, PA.
YUNKJunk.
I'm your disco-loving host, JD, of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex, located at 4327 Main Street, Philadelphia, PA 19127. It's a rad-ass comic shop that caters to you specifically, so get your ass in here and buy my shit. With me tonight to talk is Brian.
Hey.
And Noel.
I am here live, even though it's recording.
Also,
We're live.
That's true. We are already live.
Yeah.
Also in the booth is our trusty producer, Dylan.
Oh.
Dylan.
What's a Dylan? Well, you know, Dylan is cuddly.
Before we jump into the show, we want to shout out the Facebook group Omnibuds Cafe, a community obsessed with graphic novels, comic books, and manga. We are lucky enough, honored, we are, to be their YouTubers of the month.
Side ourselves.
And
we are
besides each other.
We're splendid with joy.
And happily welcome any new friends who want to join us. So please join us, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so that you get the...
Yeah. What does that do? Tell other people about this show.
Yeah.
That's great.
The phone goes... Blah, blah, blah.
Also, let us know if you're Team Drake or Kendrick.
Oh, there is beefenings happening.
By the time everyone sees this, hopefully it'll be over.
Yeah. Also, we love a little back and forth, so please email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. That was great. I feel like we nailed it, and we should move on to our next segment, which I lovingly call What have you been up to this week?
Brian,
hey.
What have you been up to this week?
Thank you for asking. I watched The Dead Boy Detectives, which is a spin-off of it's a Netflix spin-off of Sandman. Not just that the source material is a spinoff.
It's also,
because there was a different very recent appearance of the Dead Boy Detectives that was going to get its own show, I think. It was a spinoff of Doom Patrol on Max. They appeared, and they were great, right? And probably disappointed.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Doom Patrol was great.
Great show.
I did not get to finish it, but
I have not finished it. I wouldn't say I didn't get to, but I haven't. And I do want to. I
have not as
right?
well.
Like, I kind of petered out in the end of the final season, but I do want to finish it. It's a great show. So this Dead Boy Detective spins off directly from the Netflix show, Sandman. And is also based on a comic. It's about these two dead boys who are detectives. Who detect things.
Yeah, they detect.
Yeah. They do a lot of detecting in the first episode. A lot of stuff they notice. They don't always tell you, but you can see that they notice it. Yeah. And
they're dead.
They're dead.
Yeah.
They've
and
been
boys.
dead. They're boys. Right? And they are detectives.
God damn it.
People come
who
to
are dead.
People come to this show.
Boys.
For the hard-hitting questions, for the explorations that no one is willing to really discuss. Like, hey, are those boys dead? Do they detect their death and or boydom?
Yeah, they do both of those things, probably.
Not boyhood, boydom.
Yeah, I like them.
Or deadhood.
Yeah,
of the boydoms.
That's a different thing.
We're not drunk.
So,
how's the show, Brian?
Pretty good.
Okay.
So they are
and scene.
Yeah. What have you been up to this week? So
watch it. Fun. Good. Bye.
One of them has been dead much longer than the other. They
like weeks, months. What are we talking?
Years.
Minutes. Oh.
Years.
That makes more sense.
Like twins. One's older, but incrementally.
And it's interesting because they are the same age, but one of them is decades older than the other one, and was it kind of accidentally in hell for like 70 years and came back, and it sucks.
Was it like accidentally?
Well, somebody
clerical error
sacrificed him. He didn't do anything.
Boy, is my face red.
Is it?
From being in hell for
well, it wasn't his fault.
I should have swerved. I zigged when I should have zagged.
Yeah, here I am in hell.
Yeah,
what did I do? So no, he was sacrificed. It wasn't. They didn't know that they were doing it. That it was a real thing.
Yeah.
But the demon was like, still.
I'm here.
And I'm not making a joke. The demon talks like this, and they, sorry, but he doesn't say sorry, but he takes him to hell. They run into a living girl.
Is there an appeal process in hell to get some? I think
there's an appeal process where you say, "Can I leave?"
And they're like,
and
nah.
you don't leave.
Yeah, file the appropriate paperwork. How do you get out? Yeah.
That's also a part of it. Filling out the paperwork. And it doesn't do anything.
That's all that hell is paperwork.
Yeah. It's tailored to you. So, in Sandman, something happens that all of the souls leave hell. That has not happened in the show, and I don't know if it will happen in the next season. It's not really relevant. Like he just in this show, he got out of hell. The other one I think has just been here on Earth. Mm-hmm. They run into a living girl who's psychic and can see them. She has been possessed by a demon, and the one of them is older and kind of stuffy. He's from like a boys' school and he wears that uniform. And the other one is from probably the 80s and he's a little cooler. He's the one that fights. The other one is figures stuff out more. They both do both.
Oscar and Felix. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And less friction between them, but yeah. And they the stuffy one doesn't want to help the girl because he's like, she's alive. There's no ghost involved. Who would be the client? You know, we help ghosts and such move on or whatever they do. And but they do end up helping her. And they have some fun scenes where she's talking to them. Nobody else can see them, which is something that has been done in a lot of shows.
Sure, yeah.
But it's done really well. And you kind of, the first time they do that, I'd kind of forgotten that no one else could see them. Yeah. And she says some stuff in a diner. It's very strange if nobody else can hear the other people. They are also, so Death of the Endless from Sandman appears, and very briefly in this one, and I forget if she appears more, but they're on the run from her, kind of. They don't want to alert her that they're around because they want to stay here and continue doing their thing and helping people out and being in the world, and they think she'll take them, right? Yeah. So they do something in the beginning of in the first episode that kind of alerts somebody, not specifically Death, maybe somebody that was whatever it is, that they're around. And they're like, oh, shit.
They're on the radar now.
Yeah, exactly. And why they wouldn't have been before, I don't know. It doesn't come into it. So then they've got the girl, and she's great. The camaraderie, the friendship between them, I don't see as much as I would like to in the first episode. And the stuffy guy isn't as fun. Just the one. I liked it, just didn't have time. Yeah. Okay.
I also watched the first episode.
And you slept during
through
some
most of it. Yeah.
Right. Because you liked it.
Yeah. That's how I absorb things.
Yeah, exactly.
Osmosis?
Yeah.
It's like sleep on the TV.
I've got the narco sleepy.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you like it, or it was like
it was fine? It felt like a WB. It was
definitely geared towards a younger than us audience,
going
like
from
young adult,
what felt like prestige television with the Sandman, and then getting a offshoot of that. Very disappointing as far as vibes are concerned. I was like,
the Dead Boy Detectives being a spinoff of Sandman. I don't remember if I read the comic. I have it, the graphic novel. They were never the one that I was like, these are the characters that I really wanted more about. Right? There's a Death spinoff. Lucifer is a spinoff, as I've mentioned on many occasions. Yeah. There's a Furies thing. Yeah, Noel's into it. I've been reading it and I really enjoy that. Noel likes it too.
It's a good book.
Furies, there's some other stuff that is really cool. And Dead Boy Detectives is cool, but it's it's not necessarily the feel of it as much as the other ones that I'm going for. I agree with you in part that the first episode I liked more than you did. I liked it. I did kind of feel like I'm curious as to what it will be in the second episode when it's all set up. And,
I mean, that happens all the time. Like I watch an episode of a show and I'm like, oh, I don't care. And then people are like, just watch the next couple. It really, and I'll jump back in. I'm like, oh shit, this does get better.
Right.
So I'm not against it.
Yeah.
I did find myself thinking, I also watched the first episode of Lockwood & Co.
And you liked it?
Which was a Netflix show. And I was like, this is clever and funny. Delightful. Like I was in that first episode. I was really excited about it.
It looks cool.
Yeah. I think you would, if you're enjoying this,
it's been
I think you would
on
like that.
my list for a while.
But then I found out it was canceled. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of took all the steam out of my sails.
Oh, why did you cancel that and do this
and do this other very similar thing?
Because they paid a lot of money for Sandman, and I imagine that includes spin-off properties as well. I would love to see a Lucifer spinoff that's truer to this comic.
Right.
But that wouldn't right now. They could do
with Gwendolyn Christie, you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's
she was great.
Yeah, she was great. The storyline that's being told in the next season, she is supposed to be a big part of. Yeah. And so the comic happens after that. Well after that. But anyway, obviously, I would love a spinoff of that.
So do you like this? You're going to continue with it?
I'd recommend it, especially if you're into Sandman.
Yeah.
Just like, it's in the Sandman universe. It's cool. It's good. I think I wouldn't recommend it unqualified until seeing a little bit more. It did feel a little like not quite gelled the first episode and slightly superficial stuff happening. But I can see all of that changing as it goes on.
Do you think streaming killed or destroyed the idea of a killer pilot? Like a pilot episode used to be, it had to be,
you wanted to watch
everything.
Yeah.
Like it had to be the best version of the show. And I feel like pilots aren't that good anymore.
Now they're just chapter one.
Streaming.
Well, they're chapter one, and I don't mind it being chapter one. I also think
there's so much.
You got to be into it too. Sure,
it's got to drag. It's got to grab you. Yeah.
I also think that it's less likely when you see a show and the one after the second episode is way better or different, or even in the first few episodes. I don't know how this gets made exactly, but it feels like if it's streaming and you have it all at once, the quality is going to be about the same throughout. They made it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas a show, I at least had the feeling, and it might not be accurate, that it's like, oh, they aired episode 1, then they worked on episode 2, and they were like, oh, they saw it, and they're like, oh, we should do this and this or whatever.
Yeah, I guess like pilots used to be created outside of the show. So like you were commissioned to do a pilot and you had a budget and you filmed it. And then that was shown to get a pickup for more episodes.
And would be more like a movie.
It was a mini movie, yeah.
Often aired in reruns, would have to be aired in 2 parts.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. But I feel like viewership habits are like, well, you got to watch the first 3 now. Like, man, I get it when it like, I think there's always exceptions to the rule. Like Andor is an exception to the rule. They constructed that explicitly as 12 episodes, and they were like, hey, we're going to drop the first 3 right now. First, it is a whole package. If you still like it after that, then keep going. But, if you're only going to watch 1, maybe you won't like it.
Yeah.
They at least were upfront about that versus like.
I actually didn't start liking that until episode 4.
Oh, it's a good thing you stuck with it.
Yeah. Get through the first 3 episodes are basically like the opening arc,
and you love it, and you love that show.
I love it now.
They were very clear about that, though. Right. Like they were like, "Hey, we're going to drop these."
I like the 3 episode drop when they do that. I think it's a nice. If it's a show that I like, I get to watch another episode or 2 right then, and it's a nice balance. One possible balance between releasing everything at once and releasing it weekly, because both of those things are fun. And I like getting like. Here's a big chunk of it, and then we'll. I like
the fact there's no rules with streaming, so I think they should like format the stuff how they want to. Like it's not all or nothing. So like I think I read the new season of Cobra Kai, the last season of Cobra Kai, 15 episodes, and they're dropping it in 3 separate chunks, like 2 or 3 months from each other.
You get to talk a little bit.
So you get like a 5-episode chunk, nice. 2-3 months later, a 5-episode chunk, 2-3 months later, a 5. Yeah, I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Give it space to breathe.
Yeah.
So I feel like they did something similar with Invincible. They released like 4 and then 4.
Yeah.
How
like
long apart?
3 months between.
I saw so many comments about, boy, have you ever seen a bigger drop off than this? So many people just lost the steam for Invincible because of that. They watched the first 4 and then their 3 months went by and they were just like,
it was only 4. It's not that many.
Hold on.
Right?
No, I think actually, I you're both wrong.
They didn't. I'm just telling you what I.
No. They didn't.
I haven't seen it.
They didn't tell you they were doing that.
Right.
They did 4 weekly, and then we're like, we're going on hiatus. It wasn't planned.
Yeah.
So
I would say season 2, part 1.
Yeah. So people were just like, what?
Where?
There's you're coming back next year because it was the end of last year. 4 episodes, everybody was hype, and then it was like, we'll see you in 2024.
Yeah. And not 4 episodes at once and then a break.
No, it was
a
weekly
schedule, and then all right.
Do I think added in breaks are helpful? I do, especially for the longevity of the show. But if you just disappear, after gaining an audience over 4 weeks, that's stupid.
Yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I have not seen season 2. I love the first season. It's fantastic. I just haven't gotten around to it. But yeah, I did see a lot of people being like,
people freaked out. But then on Prime, the same network, you've got you've got something like The Boys, which every year when they have a new season, 3 episodes drop, and then the rest of the season is weekly.
Yeah, see, it's fun.
Like
you have a chunk.
Yeah, it's nice to get a chunk.
And then
you start to go to it.
Yeah.
Even if it's 2 and then the rest. Yeah.
And
even if it's 1 and then the rest.
What was it? Stranger Things season 4. They
so good.
8 episodes. 6 episodes were released in like April, and then the last 2 were released in like July.
Yeah.
And they were like 2 hours up each.
Yeah, they were really long, right?
But like they literally split the season up in half.
Structured it, I believe they structured it well. So that by the time you were at the end of that thing, it was like, where's the rest?
And I did like they called their shots. They called their shots. They were like, this chunk and then this chunk in 3 months. Wait for it. Not, we're not done yet.
Yeah.
We'll see you next year.
I gotta revisit.
Like that was rough. So I think Invincible is like, again, like the other side of Andor being the exception to that rule. I think Invincible is the exception to the other one.
People know in advance.
Building in a break is great.
Yeah.
Dropping people off a cliff when they're excited about a show, not as great.
Very different. Yeah, because they didn't narratively do that either.
Nope.
Right. It's like a British TV show aired here.
Speaking of streaming, what have you been up to this week?
Well, I watched a movie called The Idea of You.
The one with what's her name?
What's that about?
The one with what's her name? Yeah, and also Fella Boy.
I mean, she's popular. He's not. So
Dick
I think you know who I meant.
Manny.
The Idea of You was based on a novel, and I did not have this ready to go, but it is starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galitzine and Ella Rubin and Victor White and Perry Matfeld.
What about
Reed Scott?
Or Reed Scott?
Reed Scott.
He's in it?
He's also in Veep.
What am I? That's what it is. I'm watching Veep right now.
You are watching it. A little
Veep
update from
1.
an indeterminate amount of time ago. You said you were thinking about continuing or not.
I'm continuing.
Here we are.
Still going.
All right.
So yeah, The Idea of You starring Anne Hathaway and Nicholas Galitzine. It chronicles the love affair between a single mother in her 40s and the lead singer of a popular boy band
in his 70s.
Kids Pop 19.
In his aughts.
They've got to be well
in
past
his
19 by now.
tweens. Yeah.
So the thing that shocked me.
Michael Showalter.
Directed by Michael Showalter.
Awesome.
So the only reason, I saw the trailer for this and I was like, oh, okay, cool. This looks fun. And so we put it on for just Ishton giggles. And I saw his name pops up and I was like, holy shit.
Cool. He did
Michael Showalter.
Recently, I saw.
Keep going.
Unexpectedly.
What am I what?
I would like to see his filmography of just directing.
Search Party.
Directing.
How do I, where?
Go to the directing.
Yeah, you actually director 25 right there. Click on it.
Oh, there it is. No. Director.
Everything but. There we go.
Here we go. Happy Face. Oh, what fun. Drop off.
The ones that are done. Yeah.
Spoiler alert. I love that for you. The Dropout. The Shrink Next Door. The Eyes of Tammy Faye. The Lovebirds. In the Dark. Ray Romano.
He directed The Lovebirds?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, and he did some episodes of Love, I guess.
And Love.
That was a good show.
I did like The Lovebirds, actually.
Yeah, like he did The Big Sick. He did
Love.
some episodes of Love, of some
Search
episodes
Party.
of Search Party. So like, it's not just esoteric
Sick.
comedy.
That's nice. Yeah.
He has been doing like
A lot of stuff.
I
man.
mean, I wouldn't expect like stuff that
Yeah.
I wouldn't like stuff that doesn't scream The State to
Right,
me, or
Wet Hot
Stella,
American
or
Summer.
Wet Hot. Yeah.
Yeah, movies like
Great.
The Idea of You, which is based on a romance novel.
What's that one about?
Shut up.
I thought you had more to say about it. That was a serious
Cradle robbing
comment.
40-year-old mom. Yeah.
But he is actually what in his like 20s, I assume. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Solène, a 40-year-old single mom, begins an unexpected romance with 24-year-old Hayes Campbell, the lead singer of August Moon, the hottest boy band on the planet. So basically, she is divorced from her husband, and they share custody. Share custody. She's like, I guess she's like
Does the child
16.
spend time with
She's
both
like
of them?
14, 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah, until she's 18.
Yeah. And they share custody, and she goes back and forth. And she had this whole thing planned with her dad to go see August Moon, which is a boy band that she loved when she was like 12. So even at this point, the daughter is kind of just like, I'm just going because my
whatever.
dad got
Right,
tickets to
okay.
like this big
Yeah,
festival, you know?
Yeah.
It was more of like kind of, I guess it's kind of kitschy to go see someone I loved when I was 12.
Mhm.
It's a
and then-
lifetime for a 16-year-old.
For whatever reason,
sure.
the dad can't go. He has to go on a business trip. So he's like,
What?
can you go? Can you
Yeah.
take her? She's like, she had her own weekend plan. She was going to go camping by herself for the first time, the whole like
Everyone-
find herself
yeah.
retreat.
Sure.
And then she winds up getting roped into going to see August Moon. And so she's just going to use the bathroom. And your reactions are so over the top. She's going to use the bath. Damn it.
They only met.
She's going to use the bathroom, and she winds up going into a trailer where she sees a woman coming out of it. She
Number
goes
one or
into
number
the
two?
trailer, and
Maybe both.
it was like a
Or did you do one without the other
1.5.
sometimes?
5, so like
Yeah.
like a really loud pee, like a
Yeah.
farty pee.
Yeah, like a horse.
She peed a horse?
Yeah.
Peed like a horse.
Peed like
like
a
a
horse.
But then farted. That 1.5 would be like,
Like a
something
man.
from
Shit
the
like a
butt.
rhino.
Something from the butt. So just like emissions.
So she winds up in this guy's Hayes Campbell's trailer, not
Okay.
realizing it's his actual trailer.
Right.
Also not recognizing him at all because she has no
He
idea.
doesn't know.
And so they hit it off, and they wind up having sort of a secret affair, and it is very sweet.
That's
It's
nice.
kind of charming and fun. It's not amazing, but if you're just sometimes I get in the mood to just kind of watch a rom-com.
Sure.
I kind of enjoy those, and this was really fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't think you guys would. I wouldn't recommend it to people who don't like this type of movie.
I love rom-coms.
Like I like a Notting Hill. You know what I mean? Like
I like Notting Hill.
I love
Yeah.
rom-coms, but we don't watch them in my house because my wife does not.
Oh,
like
Tamara likes them so much.
She fucking hates rom-coms.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the rom or the com?
I don't care.
Too little cum,
Yeah.
too much rum.
Yeah.
She
We watch
hates
so many of them.
She seems to
I do like
like
them, but-
hate sugary saccharin.
I kind of like sugary saccharin
No,
sometimes.
Yeah,
she
sometimes.
doesn't. It
I'm
has to
interested
have
in this movie.
It
I
has
was
to
even
have
before you said something, and
it
now
has to
even
have
more
a
so.
sheen of some other genre for her to be into it.
Gotcha.
Like she doesn't care for cookie cutter romance with pretty people, but if it's like apocalyptic or zombie
Right.
with
And
cookie
people
cutter
also
romance,
Okay,
that's
sure.
fine. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
But just straightforward single mom meets handsome boy.
No
like
way.
no, fuck
No.
it. It's not gonna.
Like,
that's probably not gonna.
Almost
That's
like
not gonna be a
Christmas
movie night, my guy.
where the man
Yeah.
But-
tries
so-
to end Christmas.
What I actually
in love.
wound up really appreciating about this movie is the conversation where it is the reverse of most things that we see, where it's an older gentleman and a younger girl
Yes.
and their whole romance. And so I really like that it is doing the opposite thing. And I also like that it delves into celebrity life as well as social media and the way that social media interacts with celebrity. So it does have
Interesting.
some interesting things to say about that. I thought was very cool. So it is not just pretty people in love. It does have a couple of things to say, which I like, and it does things a little bit differently, which is, I think, maybe, I don't want to speak for him, but I feel like maybe that's what Michael Showalter was, maybe what drew him to this project. Because I really was flabbergasted. I was like, oh, this is a Michael Showalter joint?
Yeah.
I know him from The State and Wet Hot American Summer. I love that dude.
It was the big
That's
Sick
where I know that
hadn't
guy.
looked up on
Big Sick was
IMDb.
great.
I haven't seen it, but we were looking at, since we're watching Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
we're still loving it, and we thought, where's that guy from? And I saw that Michael Showalter directed that, and I was surprised.
Yeah.
You know, I was like,
Oh,
that's
he
not
did
what
some. Wait, he did some of that too.
He directed
He did
The Big
Big
Sick.
Sick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about.
No, Silicon Valley. No.
He did some Silicon Valley stuff.
Yeah, I would have been less surprised.
That's where I knew this guy. He's the bad guy in Bottoms.
Oh, he looks familiar, but I don't think it. Yeah, I haven't seen it either.
So yeah, if you're into ROMs and or comms, check out the idea
really
view.
Just if you're into both.
If you're into, let's stay on Amazon Prime, and if you're Amazon Prime Video, the streaming service, and if you're into documentaries.
Like hard-hitting nature,
specifically
nature.
About
this deer is up to some fucked up shit. You will not believe. This is a watch.
Yeah,
you're gonna see this deer's done.
We good? Okay,
I got more.
Go ahead.
Something about a lion.
If you like documentaries,
if you like documentaries, hard-hitting documentaries about the nigh apocalyptic deterioration of metropolitan areas and crime, then I've got the one for you.
Do you?
It's called RoboDoc. It's on Prime Video. It is a 4-part feature-length documentary about the impetus and making of RoboCop.
Hold on a second.
Interesting.
That sentence confused me.
Hard-hitting documentary?
It is a full-length 4-part documentary. Is each part
over an hour?
Full length?
It was supposed to be 4 episodes, and it is. That's the full length.
Perfect.
It's 4 mini movies.
Cool.
Okay. It is a long-ass documentary.
An hour. So it's like 4 hours.
More. Some are more.
Okay,
some
cool.
are like 70, 80 minutes long.
I wasn't sure if you were saying each episode. You know how we listen to the Halloweenies. Each of those episodes is like 2 to 3 hours. So I wasn't sure. Great.
This is basically
RoboCop.
This is basically a documentary that's like listening to the Halloweenies. Like they get into, they interview everyone, get into every single aspect of the filming, the writing, the satire. They talk to everyone. Peter Weller is a cad who he looks like a raisin left out in the sun. He's so old now, but he was just like.
Wait, he's a cad?
It's a phrase of just like a ladies' man, a cat about town.
He's a decent guy.
I don't know what his actual life is like, but he's a very charming, very upfront kind of animated man. He's a cad.
I always, and to this day, I confuse him, Peter Weller,
with the guy
James
from that
Woods.
70s show. Oh,
and James Woods is kind of a POS.
Not kinda.
Yeah, I'm being nice. So yeah, I grew up loving RoboCop. All of the RoboCops.
I used cat incorrectly. I'm sorry. Go on.
Well, now I'm curious.
There's a negative connotation, but everything else
negative connotation. Right. He's more of like a
card.
A card.
He's a card.
No. He's not
Look
a
up
cut
card.
Up. He's not a cut up.
Look at a card.
Look at a card.
Just keep talking.
Okay. So did you like RoboCop? Did you see RoboCop?
I saw it 1 and 2 for sure. Was there a third one?
There was, written by Frank Miller.
I probably saw
he's
it.
a card.
Oh right, I forgot about. I did know that.
Informal, old-fashioned, clownishly amusing person. Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. He's cool.
So how is it?
It's awesome. I'm 3 episodes in and it's awesome. Like, listen, literally, they talk to everyone in this documentary, including every single member of Body's gang. And you get like these great interviews with these character actors who were allowed to pick their wardrobe and do this and do that, and how long it took to set this thing up, and the pushback from here and there. Of course. Kurtwood Smith, who was in character the whole time. Or no, Peter Weller was in character most of the time.
Even when he wasn't in the suit?
Because he had to. Well, I mean, he was always in the suit for all of that filming. So he was like, to this day, Kurtwood Smith is like, I don't fucking know what Peter Weller's like.
Yeah. I know what RoboCop's like.
There was a whole 20-minute part of the documentary about Peter Weller working with a ballet coach about what they want to do for the physicality, and then getting the suit on and realizing I can't do shit.
No, can't do any of that.
So they had to like fly the guy in and redo a bunch of stuff. And they break down just the body movements of how he was able to do stuff. And then all of the sound effects and where they came from for the specific motions, like everything. It is so cool.
I always like how he did like a.
And he moves first like that.
That was actually, he was like, every move has a staccato. Cool. Every move starts with the chest and has a staccato. So like the chest moves and then the head, and there's always a everything has
really cool.
What people,
it was
I don't
all
think
developed over the course of a couple months of like work with a dancer and it was a ballet dancer and movement specialist and who stayed on set with him for the filming of the movie. So and they worked everything out together.
I love that kind of
that shit was awesome.
Mime stuff and just like that kind of control of the body in that artistic way. I love it. Bill Irwin. You guys know Bill Irwin?
I've heard the name.
He's clown, like professionally. And
don't worry, be happy.
Thank you.
He's the white guy in that video.
Is he? Oh, is he really? Oh, that's cool. He was. He's just been around. He's been on TV. He was in Legion, and he does this
the X-Men show.
Yes.
Oh,
it's awesome. He plays the mutant power is there's two people in one body, and one of them is way older than the other because they age the whole time they're out. He plays the older one.
Yeah.
He doesn't really have any powers other than he's kind of not a physical guy. He gets captured at one point, and the guard comes in, and he walks behind them as they come into the room where he has been captured, mimicking their every footfall and motion and staying out of their view.
That's cool.
So that it look like they see he's not there.
Yeah.
And he's just away from where they're looking.
Yeah.
And it's phenomenal. It's excellent.
That's cool.
Yeah. And he gets out.
Nice.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, something that is a very, to me, it's a soundscape. I have so many memories of the sounds that are presented in the movie. The footfalls of RoboCop, very specific sound. The sound of the gun he uses is the greatest sound of a gun ever.
There's a cool looking gun.
There's a tiger
Sci-fi
noise in there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
They literally get into all of that stuff. Like they talk to the Foley artist, and he shows you the giant like piece of chain that you slap together to get the foot clap.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like
really cool.
Everything is in this,
and like even when he moves, you can hear that.
It got nominated, if not the award, for sound design.
And even like the sound of the Gatling guns is there. Like I have so many audio memories of that movie.
So far my favorite piece was the iconic scene of, what's his name? Perry, who gets shot up by Ed 209 in the boardroom.
Yeah, it's like probably the most famous scene of that movie. Right?
They shot that 3 times over the course, like 3 different days, because for Verhoeven, it wasn't bloody enough.
Yeah.
And they kept doing it over and over again. Yeah. They kept doing it over and over again.
I assume that's how he said it.
To the point where it was on location in Dallas, and then they recreated the set later to do that scene again for more blood. Apparently it broke a record for the amount of squibs. The guy was like angry the whole goddamn time because he kept having to get blown up. And there was a couple of like certain shots or takes where there's blood splattering on the camera.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Also too, it was one of the first, and I didn't even notice, like watching the movie 1,000 times, you don't really notice this, but it was like one of the first versions of a Steadicam, and the camera operator / DP had this loud as hell camera that he was running through scenes with and one shots and stuff. So half of the movie is ADR'd.
Right.
Oh, really?
Half of them, because you have this loud flickering film camera in people's faces.
Yeah.
It sounded a lot like the gun.
Oh, yeah. Maybe they doubled it up sometimes.
Anybody that's even remotely, it's not even like, not unlike 2 weeks ago when I talked about 50 miles per hour. You don't even have to be a fan of RoboCop, just how the sausage is made with like these iconic movies. Love it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What I was about to say was, I am 100% more likely to watch RoboDoc than I am to listen to 50 episodes about speed.
Yeah.
I am going to put this on very soon.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, I have heard in recent times that RoboCop is a very metaphorical and intelligent movie. Now, I have not seen it since I was a kid, so I don't remember that aspect of it, but it might have been part of why I liked it, because it was there, but it's not part of my memory of that movie. It's just the RoboCop guy and the austere, way that he goes about. Like, I got that stuff, but I've heard like Jesus references are in there and that kind of stuff. And I didn't catch any of that as a kid. So I'm interested to see this movie again.
Yeah, you would dig it. I think it just works on a couple different levels. The ultra violent action of it all, but then also, yes, it's about satire, it's about consumerism, it's a satire about consumerism, about industrialism, about messiah complexes, about, like it's
urban renewal.
As a 9-year-old, that wasn't yet, and it was
same. I was like,
urban's fine.
The gun's in his leg.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
He's a robo man. That's a cop.
There's multiple times in the documentary they do talk about how an American would not have been able to make that movie in 86
What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, 86.
Oh, why is that?
Just because Americans don't necessarily have that perspective about their own culture. Like you had
87.
a German auteur come,
right.
like only ever made movies like in Holland and stuff, and they were like but comes over and makes this. Well, I think it was his second movie in America. The first one was like Flesh and Blood or something with Rutger Hauer. But yeah,
Look at that poster.
yeah. Oh, and they talk about who they tried to get for Murphy. And
who was that?
Spoilers.
Yeah, don't tell me.
Spoilers of the documentary.
Spoiler for real things that happened.
Things that didn't happen.
I enjoy RoboCop a lot. I actually really like RoboCop 2 also, and I do more like than dislike the remake.
How about
you did like that more than
wasn't there a Saturday morning cartoon?
Yes.
Yeah,
I remember.
The only thing cool. I remember two things: the toys, and the opening credit sequence where he climbs a brick wall, a concrete wall.
That doesn't. I did not remember that.
Like he breaks into the wall and climbs it.
All right, that's what we've been up to this week. Let's get into our main review, where we're going to talk about Mystery Men, which came out in 1999.
You remember a couple of weeks ago when I said it's a mystery?
Man.
It came out August 6th. August 6th or August 9th, 1999. So we are a couple months away from 25th anniversary. Directed
by Kinka Usher, starring Ben Stiller, William H. Macy, Paul Reubens, Greg Kinnear, Wes Studi, Tom Waits, Geoffrey Rush, Kel Mitchell, Janine Garofalo, Eddie Izzard, Praz, Ricky J. and Hank Azaria.
And Claire Forlani and Michael Bay,
CeeLo Green, Doug Jones,
Dane Cook,
the guy Artie Lang. Yeah.
Champion City already has a superhero, the appropriately named Captain Amazing. But that does not deter the city's 7 quirky amateur crime fighters who use the captain's capture at the hands of villain Casanova Frankenstein as motivation to prove themselves. The only problem is that their strange powers, silverware, hurling, bowling, shovel skills, incompetent invisibility, and deadly flatulence aren't doing them any favors. So I went and saw this movie in the theater, and I remember mostly loving it. I remember there's a couple groaners in there, but I remember walking out like, oh, that was really funny. Especially because I think it was hot on the heels of Something About Mary.
Oh, really?
So I think I was kind of a Ben Stiller fan at that point.
And there weren't a lot of comic things, and you liked comics.
Yes.
And so it was like a comic thing, regardless of tone.
Yeah.
So
I really enjoyed it back then. I had it on DVD. I haven't really revisited it a lot, but I was delighted to hear that we were going to be talking about it on this show, because I was like, I'm very excited to go back and watch this again. My experience with this movie this time was one of
well, that's enough.
So
which part was each one of those?
Let me go through scene by scene. But I think this is half great and half barely bearable.
Interesting.
I do like that it seems to be doing the Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
It feels very Batman and Robin.
Or I would think drawing from the same thing that Batman and Robin drew from.
Yes.
Yes.
What was your experience going back to rewatch Mystery Men, Brian?
Hey, so I had a similar feel that I always liked Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, this is very cool. There are a lot of really cool people in it who, even at the time, I knew some of them, and now looking back, I know others. So I was excited about it. I was into it. I enjoyed it the second time. Also, I found myself the atmosphere that they set up, this world is cool. While watching it, I found myself wanting it to be just a little more real superhero.
Okay.
Right? Like I like this world, and I want to see one where it's not a guy throwing forks. It's like somebody who's maybe not that great at superpower stuff, but he's legitimately a superhero, or
the greatest American hero you'd rather have.
Yeah, maybe something like that, or like the powers are so, but they have a lot of heart, that kind of thing. When it came out, it was for me also like a superhero thing, right? And I kind of remembered it being more of that a little bit, and it wasn't as much. I did really like a lot of the performances. Casanova Frankenstein was amazing.
He goes for it.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I was kind of impressed. I didn't really know Geoffrey Rush at the time that this came out.
Yeah.
But looking back, I was like, man, Geoffrey Rush.
Yeah.
First of all, why did you sign on to this? But also, you're nailing it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people in this movie who either were or went on to be very well known. Yeah. So I enjoyed that. A heavy presence of Yiddish words. And by heavy, I mean 2 phrases, but that's more than most.
Drowning in
Just I was surprised. I forget what the first one was, but then when they all put their hands together and they
was like, what are they saying? Yeah.
It's, I don't remember. I've heard it before. It's something like something gesund. Gesund means health. So it's probably
or good health or good luck or
something like that. Something like that is a little almost appropriate for that situation, but still weird enough to say at that time to be funny. I enjoyed it overall. It's definitely of a way earlier time. Yeah. And if you were making something that's funny about superheroes now, it would be different, I think. And I'd rather see that. But overall, good still.
Oh, good. Pretty good.
I was 17 when this movie came out and I loved it.
Yeah.
16, 17, either way. And I looked forward to it. I remember reading in like Starlog magazine.
I love Starlog magazine and the Starlog store.
And paying attention to it.
I'm sorry, I didn't know there was a Starlog store.
Mind-blowing stuff.
30 years ago, 2 years ago, 20 years ago?
Lasted for a while. Not anymore.
So you read about it in Starlog?
I was looking forward to it. So like I did follow all of like the movie magazines and shit. And 2 years prior, Batman and Robin came out. So like this aesthetic was basically comic book movies. And I was just super excited for it. Saw it in the theater, loved it, and revisited it often over the years. And just recently purchased the 4K Kino Lorber 4K transfer, which it's the name of a studio.
Oh, okay.
And it came with a shit ton of extras.
Oh yeah.
So I watched like a couple documentaries about this movie in the last like couple days too. But it's the prettiest I've ever seen the movie. All of the cityscapes and roaming cameras and early CG
are already great, because
awesome.
You were telling me about how good your 4K looked, and I was watching just the my Blu-ray, and I was like, or DVD, and I was still like, wow, they did a really good job.
Yeah.
In 99,
it's a really good looking movie.
Yeah.
It really is
so clean, and there was no loss of it. Like a lot of times when they remaster old special effects, it's just like, look at those strings. It was just so seamless and really, really beautiful. And the movie was just cleaner than I've ever seen it. No green, and I found myself just like falling in love with it again. It's not particularly smart, but it is incredibly charming.
I think it was smarter when it came out. Like the idea of the shoveler being a superhero was more interesting in 1999.
It's what I thought about at the time, and still think. I think the movie is mildly brilliant in so much as it is not making fun of superheroes. It's a superhero comedy in the beat for beat exact style of a superhero movie in the late 90s.
And they're very earnest. Like, it's not, it seems like they like comics and superheroes. Whoever made this movie.
It's Flaming Carrot Comics.
Yeah.
Like, oh, is that right?
It's based on comics.
I did not
actually based on comics.
Yeah.
Comics I've never read.
But you saw the movie.
Yeah.
And it really just borrows a couple of the characters. But man, a lot of the jokes themselves, a good handful of the jokes are dad jokes and or just on the nose, like very like punny, which is not my style.
Yeah,
it was very funny.
Everyone's so charming, and I'm like, this is cool.
There's like one character farts.
Yeah, and that part I was when you see him show up for the first time and he's kind of gross looking and he farts. And I was like,
he's got pimples.
Wait, the whole movie for this?
Yeah.
Kind of.
And then
Paul Rubens is awesome.
Paul Rubens is great.
He's great. And the character is great. And it just took me a minute to get used to
all the little things that he does in the background while other things are happening. I just like watching Paul Rubens. And then there's a scene where it's like, oh, I'm getting my leg humped by a
skunk. What was that? There was nothing happening in the story about that. I did love the shoveler's wife, the very progressive for 1999 interracial couple, which certainly happened at that time, but not on TV and movies very often. Their relationship is great, and I love where she's like, you shouldn't be a superhero. It's like, oh no, the best shoveler, I do this and this. You're like, you're the best shoveler I know.
Yeah.
That does not make you a superhero.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
She's so loving. She's like, right. Yes, you are. You have a God-given gift.
Best.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's great.
We got to talk about how they shot this thing. So the guy who directed this was
Inca Usher. He's a commercial director.
He did Got Milk.
I do have something interesting along those lines. So I find it very interesting recently when we're watching old stuff to look at their latest IMDb credits, right?
Oh, nothing.
Is it still right? So nothing for him. He did like one other movie and then some Nissan commercials.
With screaming
right? And
animals.
I always wonder like what happened to somebody? Did they go off and do something else? Did they just say whatever? So it's like 2 Nissan commercials. And I'm like, then I found him on IMDb. Like, he never did anything else. In 2022, he sold his mansion for $20-some million, which was less than it was $35 million he listed originally. But I was like, I guess the Nissan commercials were all right. He didn't make another movie, but he was
incredibly. He was an award-winning director before this movie. Yeah. In the DVD, there's a recent interview with it, like a half-hour interview with him on the DVD set that I bought, and I thought it was going to be all old EPK stuff.
Did new stuff.
Cool. Yeah, it was all from like last year of him just talking about it in hindsight. And he was an award-winning director. This movie was being developed at Universal already. Ben Stiller was attached to direct at one point, and then Danny DeVito was attached to direct at one point, and then he really liked the script and the pitch, so he went and introduced himself and then got the job, and then Ben Stiller stayed on and brought on Ginny Garofalo and blah, 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 blah. But this was all done in like, it was so planned and plotted out. Like, he is a excellent director. He's in the movie too.
He has a small role, right?
He's the guy behind he's the guy that works at the diner behind the counter that faints from the fart. He's got like a weird mustache. That's him.
His legs go up.
Yeah.
Very broad.
But his like, in hindsight, his big thing is like, this was an awesome experience in the moment that was stressful but terrible, blah, blah. There was apparently rewrites on the script daily.
Oh, really?
The final script, and he was like, it was like this thick, and I have 2 movies where we overshot it. I have 2 movies worth of movie.
Yeah.
So there's tons of deleted stuff, and almost all of it's character stuff. They showed a bunch of like deleted scenes of Jeff / the Blue Raja getting home and hiding his identity from his mom. So that was a whole subplot.
Yeah, I'd watch that. Yeah.
William H. Macy at his job in the tunnels digging.
Oh, wow.
And then Ben Stiller going to visit him. Like what they do for a living, right? Yeah. Them having heart-to-hearts, and like that a relationship was established in kind of like a Superman Batman kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
yeah.
So much of the movie was just left, and it's just all like plot.
I got a little bit. I had apparently they were just constantly at each other's throats.
Oh, really?
The cast member, I heard. The cast members. Janine Garofalo was the first person they went to for this movie, and she turned it down. But then when Geoffrey Rush and Ben Stiller got involved, she was like,
"Yes,
okay,
yes.
Geoffrey Rush was the first person officially signed on.
Really?
So neat.
And
so neat.
According to the director, he was like the most professional, prepared person he's ever worked with since.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he worked on that accent.
That's awesome.
He blocked everything out. Like he chose every piece of his fucking, like the bun was all him.
That's great.
Like he did it, and he had a vocal coach for that stupid accent.
Awesome.
And like he sold it. And
good name too.
No matter what, if we end the show now, no matter what, we have to talk about the fact that there are pinky cameras in this movie.
Yes.
What's a pinky camera?
There's literally a camera with a fake pinky doing forced perspective when it's attacking.
Oh, that's
Ben
right.
Stiller.
Oh, that's
there
right.
are so many small, weird, beautiful things in this movie.
That's why I was bringing up the director and just like a cinematographer, maybe. I don't know who's responsible for that, but the movie is so well shot, and there's so many awesome camera angles. There's a lot of Dutch angles, a lot of close-ups. It can be very awkward at times and kind of in your face. The one that really stuck with me is little things like the conversation between the shoveler and his wife, which I love their whole family. And she's been doing the dishes, and she's got these bright yellow or pink.
They're blue. They're like bright blue.
And she puts one on his face, and she's talking to him like this. And then it cuts to the POV shot of her hands on the camera. I had to pause it and take a screenshot of her because I was like, nobody else was really doing this sort of stuff back then.
It kind of reminds me
so good
in that way of like Little Shop of Horrors and Edward Scissorhands type. This sort of
very much in that.
Honestly, too, this movie kind of belongs aesthetically and thematically with movies like that. This would not get made today.
No, probably.
It barely got made then.
Or it would, because we have so many things, and it would be like somebody's weird $10,000 movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Like so many cool things about this movie. I think it's an awesome time capsule.
I liked that the guy that turns invisible. I thought it was very interesting that he didn't gain the ability to turn invisible in front of everyone.
Intangible too.
Oh yeah, and that was a weird. He you got an opportunity to see that he actually could do that, and they also found out that he could, right? Because they saw it work, which I thought was a cool. Another choice would have been to like his big moment is that he can turn invisible in front of other people. And this was very interesting. I also forgot. So one part of this movie that has always stuck with me is Captain Amazing in his.
Did we spoil it?
Yeah,
he dies.
I couldn't believe it
at the end.
And when I first saw it, I was like, "Holy shit, they killed him!"
Well, when he's reading the note in the beginning, that has always stuck with me, and I always thought that was a foolish thing for him to do. He's pretending he's reading something from Captain Amazing, and it's a grocery list, which is very funny. But I've just always, since I was a kid, remembered this. I'd like, what if somebody looked at the note?
Yeah, someone was like, "Can I see that?"
Yeah, I'd like to have that as well to put in this file.
Yeah.
I hate.
It should probably be important.
Right.
Jesus.
And I forgot how much of an ass he is.
Dylan, I want you to watch this movie. I'm sorry, we're spoiling it.
It does not matter.
I remember being viscerally curdled in the movie theater.
Viscerally curdled.
Yeah.
Because it's a grotesque.
It is.
Shocking death.
Yeah. And it's still like it's obviously an older special effect, but it's real good.
It still looks grody as fuck.
I remember being
when
like,
I watched it. Like, the movie is incredibly dark. Just one really thin layer underneath all the jokiness, and I love it for that. Yeah.
Oh, like the particular way in which Captain Amazing is an ass, like the crassness and clear concern for himself over the well-being of other people, that kind of commentary. There is a lot of, like you were saying,
he's the real villain.
Dark underneath. One of them.
No, he's the real villain because he literally does start the entire plot.
Oh,
all the bad happens because of him.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And I didn't think of this till later. He was upset that he was losing sponsorships, but he is also, you learn, a billionaire. So he really just wanted the sponsorships to
feel good.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Which sucks even more, or at least the same amount.
And I think the worst thing he does is he's in the chair from Casanova Frankenstein, and he's trying to get him to let him go.
Yeah.
Although I cackled at, oh dang it, when he breathes in the gas. And also the little mouth thing he does when he hits the floor, and it's in like slow motion. Love that.
All that dialogue is stays in my head. Nemesis.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
When he's in the chair,
and he's like, "I'll be your sidekick."
Right.
Yeah, I was like, Oh, you are just the worst. Okay.
Just do whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And why would he keep being a sidekick even if he, just like, I'm going to be,
But I think I saw this for Janine Garofalo because I was a big Janine Garofalo fan in this. I think it's pretty good. I think there's enough jokes in it that don't land for me, and there's enough cringe especially in the first, it's like Tom Waits goes to the old ladies' homes.
Tom Waits is in it.
Yeah, I'm here for the. Yeah, he's here for the women. He just goes to old ladies' homes to hit on old women.
King shaming him.
There's a.
He's not that young.
There's a clothes shrinking ray, which makes only the girls' clothes shrink.
They only shot it at the girls.
And then Ben Stiller goes, "Oh, I think my pants are shrinking too."
There was more than one of those jokes.
Yeah.
That I was like, "Whoa, what?"
Yeah,
where did that?
It's kind of. I'm trying to remember what the other one was. Oh, two Wonder Women show up
at the cat fight.
And they have a cat fight, and all of them are like leaning over the table, like sweating.
It's weird.
Because these two women are fighting each other. I was like, it doesn't, the whole movie does not hold up.
No, maybe not. That opening scene, though, as soon as they did that very weird, like swinging jazz era casino filled with weirdness and older people, as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, I'm into this again. You know, this is weird. This is cool. Yeah. And it's a good opening scene.
We need to side by side.
Yeah.
Show that sequence and the fucking opening gala in Batman and Robin before.
Yeah.
Like they are literally shot the same way with the same kind of music stings and the like hovering over groups doing like synchronized like movements through the crowd. Same fucking
well
movie.
Shot.
Yeah.
So well.
Yeah.
It works for me here more than it does in Batman and Robin.
That's because you were supposed to take it seriously there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
or be serious in a different way.
I anticipated that I was supposed to take it seriously.
Right.
Yeah, because I think Joel Schumacher did exactly what he was hired to do.
Yeah. He understood the assignment. I just hated the fucking assignment.
Yeah.
I kind of like it in hindsight.
Yeah. Did you like it at the time?
I did.
You were a fan.
That was
and in all the time in between.
Yeah.
That was like Batman and Robin was. So a lot of people like talk about how they almost convinced themselves to like the Phantom Menace. I liked it enough and was just like didn't really fight people's complaints about it because they were accurate. I just enjoyed it. I did convince myself that I liked Batman and Robin, and I did not know how wrong I was until a little later, but then I revisited it as it was, and I was like, okay, this is kind of
this is Batman 66.
This is a big budget Batman 66.
And it was Batman and Robin. Or wait, was that the last one or the second to last? Anyway, that's a whole
Batman Forever.
Movie.
I unironically still enjoy.
I walked out of Batman Forever being like, that was different, but I kind of liked what they did.
Unironically still enjoy it.
But
anything else about
this movie?
the Mystery Men?
I think everyone should give it a shot. It was such an interesting time capsule.
Do you think they should revisit it?
That was kind of a lot of what I was saying earlier is I would really like to see something like this in this style, a little different, maybe something more like I think would be done now. A revisit in the sense of a sequel with these characters. I'd probably still watch it and it'd probably be fun because it would also be made now. But like a reboot of it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be top of my list.
I don't think it would have the same effect.
Not at all.
Because we're glut with these type. We're glut with. So first of all, this type of superhero movie doesn't get made anymore. It is all very the fantastical statues the size of buildings, fantasy kind of element just doesn't exist anymore. It's all much more grounded kind of in a real space. Even the magic is usually in a real space. So this movie, like if they were to make a comedy / action superhero adventure, whatever,
I mean,
of the other guys, I don't even know if it would be that competent. It would still just be, an Iron Man who sucks with machines. Like it wouldn't
like
be
incompetent
as
heroes.
I
don't
it
think
wouldn't
incompetent
be
heroes are as funny.
No.
I mean, you could do it, right? Because you get a premise and you could approach it in a fun, cool way. But I think back then part of the joke was they're superheroes, right?
Yeah,
and they think they are.
I think
now I don't think it's just not as out of your experience that there are movies about superheroes anymore, which is great. I love it.
The Dick Tracy over the top aesthetic does so much work for this movie. It could be 1950 or 2045 in this
and
kind
I
of
love that
space.
Kind of thing, and I'd like to see more
like
of that.
TVs and monitors and shit everywhere, but no one has a cell phone. It is a very weird out of time kind of aesthetic that does a lot of work for this movie.
I saw that.
Yeah, there was like Canadian, it looked kind of Canadian-ish.
Yeah, that's
not the whole. Yeah, that was an interesting choice. really cool.
It is a whole different kind of universe, a whole different kind of world. I don't know if it would work as well if it was just like a Marvel-ish version of losers trying to make it, D-listers trying to make it. I don't think that's as charming.
Right.
Like this.
Have there been any? I mean, there was that kind of the one with Alan Tudyk.
That was powerless. That was just people that like worked in a building.
I never saw that one.
I watched like 2 episodes.
I don't know if there are any of like this guy is like this where they're lame. You know,
they have comic books that they could be adapting, like not the JLI, Great Lakes Avengers.
Okay.
Yeah, there's like literally a team of kind of not great superheroes who have powers.
I'm not sure that the studios would want to do that. Yeah. There was a long time where comics were not taken seriously, and now they are, and people are spending a lot of money on them. I'm not saying no studio would do this, but it might be at least a consideration of like, we don't want to dilute the Marvel brand making that kind of comedy.
If they ever did anything with this, I would rather
different though.
And they're regretting that they made She-Hulk, unfortunately, because it was the best goddamn thing on Disney Plus. If this was gonna get revisited, I would actually want it to be a continuation of this, like 25 years later.
I would like to see that. I'd watch that movie.
This world. Imagine if it was something along the lines of startup superheroes now mythologizing these asshats. In this already established world. And I was like, I would eat that up with a spoon.
That's an interesting idea. I think another thing you could do is real superheroes have started to appear. Right.
This world does have real superheroes.
Yeah, but not like Captain Amazing. Even he's got like a jet engine noise when he comes in, and he has something on his back. I'm not sure that he has powers.
Superhuman strength, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know, but regardless,
he hits people and they go flying.
And that's true. But he's also got gauntlets and whatever. I'm talking like Green Lantern or the Flash or Martian Manhunter, even Superman. Yeah. But just like the things that are in movies now show up or showed up a little while ago, and these guys are still there.
Yeah,
I think that would be an interesting story.
You could totally get William H. Macy to come back.
We get William H. Macy to come back. Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Let us know what you thought about Mystery Men if you have revisited it. And
or anything else. If you want to let us know what you think about anything.
Just send us your thoughts.
If you have never even heard of this movie, do yourself a favor. It's so fun.
You've heard of it now.
Yeah.
Go watch it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we will talk at you later.
Cool.
Don't forget to bring the brewskis.
Yes, you may absolutely bring the brewskis.
YUNKJunk!